where we talk about our favorite bunker movies that the AI organized for us. Oh, look! An abandoned bunker to watch our movies in. Let's go!
Oh boy, welcome back to another fantastic episode of I See If This Is Working. This is weird. It says I have a chat. It says there's a chat rate that's more than 0. I, however, do not see. Oh, never mind. It just went from 1 to 0. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't have... I mean, on the one hand, I kind of have topics. But on the other hand, I kind of don't have the topics. It was sort of just to see who was going to hop in and if my connection to the interwebs was going to crash. I have switched out my Wi-Fi from a little dingle dongle to a proper Wi-Fi card. I haven't checked my internet speed yet. I should probably do that, but it seems okay. I'm at 3100 to 3300-ish kbps with 0 frames dropped, which means my latency is good. Hopefully everyone can hear me a-okay. JKL, well, nobody's here. That's okay. I uploaded a video and it auto got thumbs down in the middle of the night. So that's cool. That's fun. That always just gets me going. I always feel like, oh yeah, I can feel the love. I immediately got thumbs down by somebody. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was great. That was a good feeling that didn't send me spiraling. That's cool. And I just think that I kind of go back and forth with some of my buddies that will eventually listen to this back sooner or later. Maybe they won't, but I think I have like a conscious like block that stops me from doing too much work on a project. Something that's if I put too much effort into something, if I actually invest in it, and I can't think of the right words for this, it invests me in many ways, and then I feel more intrinsically tied to the outcomes. And I think that it's super hard for me to go all in on something, because again, I think like I posted the other night, I think there's like this this balance, this like kind of, it's not a 50-50 balance, or maybe even like an 80-20 balance or a 99-1 balance, but I just automatically expect myself to just miserably fail. That's kind of just my default. I think I've gotten so used to failing over and over and over and just being like an utter raging absolute failure that it almost hurts too much to try. And even like the appearance of giving an effort and trying to try is just so mock worthy that it's almost too painful to try. It's painful to care about something enough to try. And contrasting that with these multi-million sub channels that still cannot be bothered to timestamp their effing videos is insane to me. They clearly have staff that they hire, or at least they should, because they have enough money to, and they have sponsorships and la-di-da, and they have their own websites and someone to run their 18 different friggin' Instagram, social, TikTok, Facebook, blah blah blah, whatever all of them are, I don't know. And they still can't, have somebody take like the extra 2 seconds to timestamp their videos. Like, shut up. Like, so I timestamp a video. It doesn't matter. Nobody says thank you for timestamping the videos. I don't timestamp a video. Nobody says, hey, these videos weren't timestamped. Nobody cares. Boy, I'm actually starting to talk like tech lead now. And then I see this video in my feed. I still haven't watched it because I kind of don't care, but I kind of do care. This video in my feed said something to the effect of like the new YouTube meta is more or less just not editing your videos and just full send. You used to get so berated for that because it was such a, if you didn't cater to the the ADD generation of not even having a breath in your video, like a pause to soak in an idea. I remember having to just constantly pause videos just to like mentally take a breath of everything so my brain could absorb it. And this constant battle that people used to have, it used to be a battle. Here, you want to know? This isn't what I'm getting at, but this is hilarious. It used to be a battle for 10 minutes worth of time to cram as much information as you could into 10 minutes of time. That somehow segued into stretching 15 seconds of content out into a 10-minute video. That rubber banded back into just having, a 15-second, was it Vine? And now Shorts, which are just like the absolute most cancerous format of content ever on YouTube. I'd need to have 3 million people see a short before it even mattered. And shorts are just some of the most toxic content there is. And be engaging. It's like so 0.01%. So first of all, I have to get the short to even be served to anybody, which that alone, there's 10 billion idiots with their clickbait BS for the shorts. But then it has to also, in these concentric circles of this Venn diagram, have to be engaging enough to pull people in. And so you're talking about like a 100% of like a 100% chance of doing that. It's just not, unless you're going to hire somebody, it's just not feasible. And I don't know. These things are romantic to talk about, Wouldn't it be cool if this worked out or that worked out? But the reality is, like, actually executing on something, like full send, like deliberately planning and executing on something is a real legitimate challenge. And I'll just take crypto for example. I know there's a couple of you watching this now. Like, you want to know, I don't even on crypto, like, you have to, holy crap, crypto is just taking a doo-doo. I was talking to the AI about this last night, and because that's what I do to, instead of crying myself to sleep, I talk to the AI until I fall asleep. And oh man, this crypto that I used to be in, called Monero, aka XMR, I used to have a decent amount of Monero. And Monero got worth quite a bit of money. And simultaneously, it got delisted from almost everywhere because the worldwide order will not allow Monero to be an accepted crypto, even though it is the number one privacy crypto in the world. And I had a respectable amount of Monero. I did everything right. I rolled my coins around, and I got in at low points, and then it went up. I did everything you're supposed to do, and the powers that be just are attacking Monero as much as they can, to the point to where they've worked it out to the very, 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 very fringes of the exchanges, to where you can just barely get it. And I guess some trades have started coming back, or pairs, I should say, PAIRS. And someone say something in the chat so I know this thing's actually working. I know there's a couple of you here now, and you're probably like, what the hell? And apparently Zcash crashed, which I didn't even know people are still using Zcash, and so Monero doubled, and it's worth even more now. And I zeroed out because they were cutting the exchanges, and the cabal is fighting them back. And it's insane to me that you can do everything right. You can do everything right. You can go all in. You can do your homework. You can do your research. You can execute every move perfectly. And then they just decide, nope. And that's it. That's all she wrote. And that Monero would be worth basically as much as my whole bag. And that's just insane. And I've got multiple stories of that. So, like, I had a lot of SHIB. That's another crypto. A lot of SHIB. And I did everything right. I watched it every day. I kept buying in. Every time I would dip, made more and more and more and more and more. And I was about to make a lot of money. And they leaked a lie on CoinMarketCap about Binance or some stupid thing, like old information. They re-released old information that was already debunked in a lie, and it just crashed SHIB, and SHIB just never recovered from that. And through no fault of my own, they just people were making, like, people that there's like a magic button. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's like a magic button, right? Like, the same thing with like AMC and hold on. Same thing with AMC. It's the same thing with what was the other one? GameStop. Same thing with all those. Like the wrong people. You know, the right people have to be cut in. You know, the wrong people you can't get ahead. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you can't get ahead. I can't get ahead. I can't get ahead." Yeah. But like legit though, I have been ahead before. You know, we did the right thing with the house. We bought in at the bottom. I guess I'm modding a different chat as we go. Just to be a good buddy. We bought in at the house at the bottom with no interest. And it just doesn't matter. Like it still got taken away. The bank still took it back because I just couldn't survive multiple crashes. That's still to this day why I don't trust people that survived every single crash. If you survived the 2000 crash and the 08 crash and the 16 crash and the 20 crash, I just don't trust you. It's statistically impossible that any honest person, oh well, you can, you know, you could have saved up, you could have this, you could have that. Like, very unlikely. It's, you know, it's insane. You have to have like multiple financial multipliers. Does that make sense? You have to have like multiple financial multipliers. You can't just make one perfect trade. You can't just execute one perfect thing. You have to consistently execute perfectly in a row at least 3 times. So I would have had to have executed, and I guess maybe like in the grand scheme of things, this is why I don't feel so defeated, is executing one thing once really well wouldn't have been like systemic, you know, it wouldn't have been institutional, it wouldn't have been lasting growth. You to be able to capitalize on like one good execution takes a lot of discipline, if that makes sense. It takes a lot of discipline. And when you're young, you just don't have that. You don't have that without the power of hindsight to be able to go back and execute on something perfectly. And I don't just mean because you could get NVIDIA stock. I mean because you would already hindsight, know exactly how much money that you would have needed to save. So you would have known that you needed $7,000, or you would have needed $20,000, or you would have needed $30,000, and so you're not just like saving just this nebulous amount for some future that you don't know, because you can't do that. It's not feasible. You can't just, I've kind of realized this more as I've gotten older and older, and now I'm I'm a really, really old boomer now, and really, really old boomer, and it's just, you can't save your money indefinitely forever with no point or purpose, especially not now with the just ludicrous inflation and stagflation and shrinkflation and every other inflation on the planet, and taxes and so on. Like, oh man, and silver's just ridiculous. That's another one, man. I could have stocked up on silver so easily. I knew it. I 100% knew it. I just didn't execute. And so what I started doing is what I started doing, kind of just to prove to myself, and this is just so stupid. This is so stupid, but I buy in just like a little bit, so I'm like invested enough to kind of like, okay, so that would have been one good execution. Does that kind of make sense? Like, I made one good execution, and if I had gone all in, and then somehow got the next 2 all-ins perfect after that, I would have actually gotten ahead. And what I kind of do is I kind of make, like, I don't know what to call it. They're not test bets, because it's not that. I mean, it kind of is, but it's like, try to mark on your calendar, like, and this is what I said, like, on my crypto top 10. Try to mark on your calendar putting a little money into crypto, like when it's at the bottom, for example. Or like, well, you can't do it with silver now, but like, and I don't know if silver's ever going to be down again, but like, buying a little silver when silver was down, buying a little Bitcoin when Bitcoin was down, buying a couple batteries when batteries are on sale. That kind of, and then maybe marking it all on your calendar. And you're going to miss things, you're going to F things up, but like, you won't have invested much of anything, but at least it would have been like a little snapshot in time, and you could have told yourself like, hey, dang it, I tried. That would have been a good decision. Dang it. If I had only just gone all in, but at least you don't have to worry about zeroing out with tons of bad decisions. Or if you make the good decision and then things completely out of your control zero you out. Like, our house was amazing. I still dream about living there all the time. I still dream about that subdivision all the time. We got it at a rock bottom price. It was an amazing house. It was an amazing subdivision and everything, but like, it's completely out of our control. I couldn't get a job at a grocery store. I couldn't get a job anywhere. And a lot of you might be thinking, oh, well, it must be nice. Yeah, I know. You're all in the same position again. That's kind of my point, is like, this is just going to keep happening over and over, except every time the bar gets erased, which means every time you've got to make more and more and more perfect decisions in a row. And it's going to create just this like insane survivor bias. Does that make sense? It's going to make this insane survivor bias. All the people left over and over again. There's going to be 2 kinds of people. There's going to be the people that it was just handed to on a silver platter. And then there's going to be the people that just like scrapped and fought and executed perfectly every single time over and over and over again. And those are going to be the two groups. The groups with survivor bias and normalcy bias, and the group that just like brute force executed and planned and plotted and executed over and over and over and over again. Those are going to be the 2 groups. It's going to be It's like, and it's the same thing with streaming. There's streamers that are ultra successful. They have no idea how they got there. They crash and burn all the time. Big streamers crash out all the time. Streamers that are up and coming crash out all the time. I've probably told this story before. There was a certain streamer that was a Canadian streamer, and I started watching every single one of their videos. Their videos were so good. And then one day, they just started shitting on Americans over and over and over. No doubt trying to cater, I don't know, to leftists that empathize with Canada. It was stupid, and it wasn't even overt. It was like whatever the opposite of overt. Wait, covert? I don't know. It was in your face. And then they did the no is they doubled down on the next video, and I'm like, oh boy. They did the no. Like, they doubled down. It's like you just waved your dick in everybody's face and are telling them that they got to deal with your dick waggling. And it's like, you don't, not on YouTube. And I don't know what that person, I don't know if they kept doing well, but like there's so many channels, like you've got to straddle that line. You've either got to be not political at all, or you've got to straddle that line. And you can't be a millennial complaining about how your income is trash and how your traffic is trash and all of this, and then just like think through like this survivor bias that you are hot shit and you're not hot shit. And here we go. There we go. Good timing. So, whoop, wrong button. Oh man, I guess all that is to circle around and be like, so many big YouTubers crash and burn, and crypto people crash and burn, and there's scams, but then there's the whole other side of it where like people could have like a great YouTube channel or a great Twitter channel, and then all of a sudden just get knocked down 90%. And I see that happen a lot. There's people that shouldn't have even gotten shadow banned, that can't even point to a single video that they did that was wrong, and all of a sudden they didn't even change their content. And I can't remember how the saying goes, but it's like, if people like salad, keep making salad or something. And I try to be consistent, but it also occurs to me that like, despite me working on my branding in the past, there's probably still people that don't understand my branding and what my identity, what my channel's identity is. And if you looked at my subscriber count, you would just be thrown for a loop. My subscriber count is like flying back and forth every single day, which means some people like it and some people don't like it, and they just keep back and forth and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And unfortunately, YouTube, this is what happens when you try to make consistent content. Making consistent content throws your channel into the churn, into the maelstrom. It throws you in with the sharks, and it starts serving you up, and you start getting thumbs downs, and you start getting traction and you start getting people shit post and you start, it reintroduces you to the crazy. Instead of you flying under the radar to your couple buddies, and all of a sudden people are going to have crazy expectations of you again. You're going to piss people off, and people are going to have differing opinions, and you're going to hear all about it. You have to have insanely thick skin. But you still have to understand, why they're there. And a lot of people don't like my voice. Some people say I'm too monotone, and other people say that the monotone, they like it and it's nice and peaceful. You're just not going to make people happy, ever. You're never, ever, ever going to make people happy, but you still got to accept constructive criticism sometimes. And but I think more important than all of that is kind of like being a counselor in a lot of ways. You gotta read what people need, not what people want. And so, like, I was talking to a lot of people about drone stuff, and the same thing happened with radios. I talked to tons of people about radio stuff. And I was trying to figure out, like, why are people so trepidatious, trapezius? Why are people so nervous about picking up a drone? Like, what's the barrier? Is it money? Like, what is it? And I think just like radios, like, people don't understand. They don't understand the environment that they're in. A drone is not just a thing that you go buy from somebody and you try to get $20 off and kind of settle. A drone is something that you need to be deliberately picking the drone you want and hunting down that drone and getting that drone. And there has to be deliberate choices with that drone. Just like there has to be deliberate choices with your radio. You need to be getting deliberate choice radios for certain persons. It's not just going to the store and picking out a radio. Everything has to have meticulous reasons, and night vision's the same way. So I just picked up this massive night vision book by Don Shift, and I'm going to be reading this whole thing end to end and testing my conceptions with which night vision, someday I want to get, even though I think it's the last prep you should get. I think I was thinking about this today, like, after you get night vision, then it's like, do you go find reasons to do it, or do you already have reasons to do it, or do you buy it and only use it 2 or 3 times a year? Or is it actually going to help or hurt more than it helps? And I think, so, I made that drone video, and I don't know, like, I feel like that drone video, like, helped people. Just like my radio videos help people, but, like, I've been thinking about Baofeng, DM32s, doing a video on those, and I'm starting to wonder, it's like, would that video even help anybody? Like, I don't know. I know content's content, and I get that, but I still want to be making content deliberately. That way, if I do put effort in something, I'm at least putting effort into something that I think is going to be adding value, not just goofing off for the sake of content. If I'm goofing off for the sake of content, I'm just going to absolutely do the bare minimum effort. So, with that, I think I'm going to take a break. And so, I know a couple of you were listening and nobody said anything, or either that or my chat's broken. If you haven't left a review for Bunker Basics, if you could leave a review for Bunker Basics, that would be awesome. We are up to 18 reviews, so shout out to my buddy Trent. And we were in the top 50 for survival and emergency preparedness there for a minute. And if you missed the last stream, a bookstore is offered to buy a couple of my books. I didn't bring enough because I'm a dummy. Maybe I missed that opportunity. Maybe that opportunity, I don't know. I'm sure that opportunity still stands, but I'm not gonna. It costs as much gas to drive there, you know. It's gas and taxes here are just insane. So if I go down there with some books next time I'm down and it works, great. If it doesn't work, you know. Again, kind of just to wrap around what I was saying, at least I know that there was a window there where it could have worked a little bit. And to me, that means I was, 1/3 of the way towards executing. And I think that would mean like getting 3 bookstores in a row. Like landing 3 bookstores in a row. Does that make sense? Anyway, I guess that's it. So thank you. I think I saw like 3 or 4 people. Appreciate y'all. And I do have another fun video coming out at midnight tonight. A new... I finally, I think, figured out a fun way of doing shorter form content. And I know some people want shorter form content, some people want longer form content, so stay tuned and check it out tomorrow. And I've got a shorter form series that I want to try that I think will be fun. So I will talk to you all later. Bye.